Good afternoon, all of you. Today we are going to focus our attention on one of the important prose lessons entitled as The Eyes Are Not Here. I repeat, The Eyes Are Not Here by Ruskin Bond. So before we proceed further, I would like to talk about Ruskin Bond. Ruskin Bond was born on 19th May 1934. He is an Indian author of British descent. He lives with his adopted family in Landore, Missouri, India. So before we proceed further, it's crucial to talk about a few quotable quotes which are very essential for the readers to know about the writer Ruskin Bond. So that is in his book entitled The Kashmiri Storyteller. So wherein Ruskin Bond says, a story never really ends, and happiness is something that comes and goes. It is as rare as a rainbow. So look at the beautiful thoughts of Ruskin Bond regarding to a story. What exactly a story means to him. He says a story never really ends, and happiness is something that comes and goes. So there is a no end to the story. So end, we have to make an end to the story. But in fact, a story never ends somewhere else or somewhere. And happiness is something that comes and goes. It is as rare as a rainbow. So here, there is one more thought of Ruskin Bond regarding to the nature. So what he says, in our imperfect world, see, look at the word that he uses. The word is quite imperfect. So in our imperfect world, there is far too much talk and not enough thought. So the people, the critics, talk too much, but they hardly spend or spare a few little time for the thought. According to Ruskin Bond, the thought is very much important rather than a mere talk. So this is very important in this imperfect world, he calls so. There is one more quotation which is very important in this context. The eyes have it. That is, well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. So, well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. So, well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. So, here, most of the times, we have the eyesight gifted by God. We have the eyes through which we can look at the world, but still, we do not understand exactly the importance of the eyes we have. We do not know the importance of the eyes. Suppose we go blind and we have lost our eyesight. We are sightless. So at that time, we can realize the importance of eyes. So in this connection, what he says about the importance of eyes here, well, it often happens that people with good eyesight fail to see what is right in front of them. So it's important to know what is right in front of them. It means the people who have good eyesight, but still they are not able to see or view or distinguish the right and wrong, whatever is there in front of their eyes. So this is very important on the part of the writer, Ruskin Bond, who opines the fact that the people having good eyesight are not able to see the right in front of them. In a sense, it is crucial that the people who are absolutely blind, but still they can see the right things in front of them. So this is the key message that the eyes clearly demonstrates. There is one more quotation which is important in this context is one sure way to lose the world and everything in it is to try grasping it. Look at the beautiful thought by Ruskin Bond here. He says, one sure way to lose the world and everything in it is to try grasping it. So here we lag behind in grasping the world. In fact, we need to understand the world conspicuously, very clearly. We have to experience and experiment the life we lead on this earth. So about Ruskin Bond, he's, he is in love with the nature. He falls in love with the beauty, the dazzling beauty of the nature, the flora and fauna of the majestic Himalayas. He loves each and everything. But still, his perception of reality is very important in this context. See, look at one thing that the person who is an outsider can view the reality more conspicuously than the person who is inside. The outside and inside dichotomy that one can fathom in the interpretation of the text and the reflection or the portrayal of reality in the text is crucial in this context. So there is a one thing that Ruskin Bond is an insider. He is not an outsider. In most of the interviews, he cleared this fact that he is an insider rather than an outsider. But still, the perception of Ruskin Bond about the reality in India is noteworthy. He realistically portrays the picture of India, the picture of the flora and fauna of the majestic Himalayas, the dazzling beauty of the Himalayas, Mussoorie, Dehradun, and many places where he lived his life. And his writing is for the youngsters, it is for the children, and hence he is a recipient of many awards. For example, John Levin Rice Prize he received in 1957, Sahitya Akademi Award in 1992, Padma Shri Award in 1999, and Padma Bhushan Award he received in 2014. He wrote many books, for example, the novels, the fiction, short stories, and the stories for children, essays, much more. Especially, he wrote his first novel, that is Room on the Roof, at the age of 17. It is a semi-autobiographical story. It is a story about the main character, Rusty. So, regarding to Rusty, he is the mouthpiece of Ruskin Bond, through which he expressed his views, which can be termed as a semi-autobiographical story of Rusty. One can understand while going through his books. Then he wrote a sequel to The Room on the Roof that is entitled as Vagrants in the Valley. It's a sequel. Then he wrote the short stories like Rusty the Boy from the Hills, Rusty Runs Away, the collection of short stories, Rusty and the Magic Mountain, Rusty Goes to London, Rusty comes home, adventures of Rusty, much more that he wrote about Rusty. Then, in the course of time, Ruskin Bond also wrote many collections and anthologies. In novels, the famous novels are The Room and the Roof, A Flight of Pigeons, The Sensualist, Our Trees Still Grow in Dehra, The Blue Umbrella, and much more. You can come across much of his work if you go through the opus of Ruskin Bond. In addition to this, he has brilliantly written his work on children, especially the cherry tree, the Ranji's wonderful bat, and in essays, by the roadside fire is well known to all of us. And in non-fiction, he has also written a gold story celebrating 125th, 125 years of Bangalore Golf Club. So much more work one can view regarding to uh, the work which is made by Ruskin Bond. So in addition to this, here I would like to talk about the story, one of the stories for your syllabus by Dr. Babasaheb Ambedkar, Marathwada University, Aurangabad. So let's go through the story, what the story is all about. So here, The Eyes Are Not Here by Ruskin Bond. It's a short story. The eyes are not here. Look at the words, which are very meaningful, suggestive, connotative, implied. So here, the eyes are not here. It means no eyes. It means the author is blind. The narrator is blind. The eyes are not here. It means here is the expression of ideas, views, experiences one can fathom, but the narrator is sightless. He is blind. He is not able to see the world all around him. So here, Ruskin Bond's short story, The Eyes Are Not Here, tells the story of two blind people who meet on a train. So in this story, Ruskin Bond writes about his feelings and opinions about the two blind people who meet on a train. So here the narrator happens to sit by a girl whom he enjoys speaking to, but he cannot see her and wonders what she looks like. Look at one thing that we have the eyes. Suppose something is kept in the um, box and we are asked not to open it and it is completely locked. So there is a natural tendency of the human beings to see what is restricted, to unlock the box and see what exactly something lies inside. This is the curiosity. This is a strong desire, the feeling of a person to see the unknown. So, in the same fashion that the narrator sits by a girl whom he enjoys speaking to, but he cannot see her and wonders what she looks like. So, here the narrator is talking to a girl in the train, but he is not able to see her because he is blind, but he makes his speculations, imaginations through which he can understand what the girl is, how she looks, and what she looks like. So it is written in a very interesting manner. He tells her she has an interesting face. So here is a question that how a person without eyes can see that the face is interesting. Most of the times, this is quite clear that a blind person can view things more clearly than the person having eyes. This is my personal opinion. Because they have a strong inner a desire, and a strong inner power through which they can understand the world as clearly as they can, as clear as they can. So that's why their perception is quite realistic. Their senses are quite acute. Their perception is, although it's relative, but it's very powerful. So here he tells her that she has an interesting face, which she says she hears often. Then the girl responds that I hear it for many times. My face is an interesting face. After she has got off the trail, a person just getting on indicates that the girl is also blind. So there is the communication, the interaction of the narrator who is blind with the girl who is sitting by him. So once he gets off the train, a person informs him that the girl whom he talked for a long time was also blind. Means both the people are blind, traveling in the compartment on the train journey. At that time, both of them realized the fact that the world is having the eyes, but still they are not able to see what is right in front of them. This is the key message that Ruskin wants to deliver through this short story. In the eyes are not here by Ruskin Bond. The narrator is traveling on a train in India. He expresses his experiences about the railway lines, the train, the people, the rush in the train, many activities that you can do all around in the train journey. So all these things are very conspicuously, very accurately, realistically portrayed by Ruskin Bond in the eyes are not here. So India is the author's native country because he was born in Kausali in the Himachal Pradesh. The narrator is blind, only able to perceive the difference between the light and dark. The people who are blind can also view things. They can understand whether there is the light or the darkness. They can see the difference. They can understand the difference between the light and dark. He has the world, he has the whole train compartment to himself until the train stops at the town of Orohana, where a girl gets on board. So the compartment is empty. He has the whole train compartment to himself. Nobody was there until the train stops at the town of Rohana, where a girl gets on board. So this is the place, Rohana, where a girl gets on the board, gets on board. But someone accompanied her, as she is accompanied by a couple who sees her off. They came there to bid her a farewell. The narrator assumes they are the girl's parents. So the narrator, who is blind, was under the assumption that maybe the parents came with, accompanied by the girl. Once they say their goodbyes, the train pulls out of the station and resumes or continues on its journey. So the journey embarked, the journey started. The narrator soon strikes up a conversation with the girl. So they start talking to each other. There is a beautiful conversation between the blind narrator and a girl. But the fact is that the narrator is sightless, he is blind, and he is not able to see her face, see her. But he can certainly listen to her voice, listen to her sweet voice, and he finds very pleasant talking to her. For her part, the girl appears startled by the narrator's voice. So the girl got startled due to the voice made by the narrator. The narrator takes to be an epitome of someone with good eyesight, failing to see what is right in front of them. So, in this context, Ruskin Bond, the author, points out the fact that people having good eyesight are not able to see what is right in front of them most of the times. This is the message that he gives away. The conversation between them continued with the narrator daringly offering his opinion that the girl has an interesting face. The narrator says that the girl has an interesting face. He doesn't know this, of course. He is simply enduring to flatter her. The narrator praises her, flatters her. The girl responds by saying that it's nice to be told that I have an interesting face. Who does not like praise? Who does not like appreciation in life or flattery? So, in this context, the girl is also overwhelmed by listening to the sweet words by the narrator. She says that I am impressed. I am also feeling nice to know that my face is an interesting face. And it is repeated by many. I heard it for many times. And I'm tired of people telling me I have a pretty face. I have a beautiful face. This confirms to the narrator what the girl's sweet, pleasant voice has already told him. Because the narrator sensed her, he sensed the reality, he sensed the beauty of the girl, being a blind man. And the senses of a blind man is absolutely acute, very keen. They are observant. They look at things quite conspicuously rather than a man with eyes. She really doesn't have a pretty face. But in any case, the girl will soon reach her station. But the fact is that she really doesn't have a pretty face. But in any case, the girl will soon reach her station, leaving the narrator alone once again. She comes and goes. Here, the author talks about the life. Life is something like that. To come and go means life. Men come and go, but the mountains remain. There is the perpetuality of the things we perceive in life. They are absolutely permanent. But about the human existence, which is transitory, which is like a bubble, which gets diminished at any moment. So this is quite important philosophy that he delivers through his story. And she gets up to leave. She bids him goodbye. As she does so, she tantalizes him with the smell of her perfume. So when she is getting off of the train, the narrator smells the perfume and he liked that. After the girl gets off the train, she is replaced by a man who is self-deprecatingly tells the narrator that he is not as attractive as his previous travel companion. The second person enters inside, and what he says to the narrator that I am not so magnetic or attractive as you may be thinking about me. I'm not as attractive as his previous travel companion. I'm going to be your companion, but I am not so attractive as you may think of. The narrator asks him if the girl wore her hair long or short. The narrator goes on questioning the man about her hair. Was it long or short? What it is exactly. Again, we can see the curiosity of a blind man, the narrator. The man replies by telling him that he can't remember, he is not able to remind or visualize what he encountered or what he experienced when he entered the train. But that her eyes were beautiful. But he said one thing that whatever he still remembers is her beautiful eyes. The eyes were beautiful, even though they were no use to her on account of being blind. The girl whom the narrator talked for a long time had no eyes. She was also blind. The girl was also blind, and the narrator was also blind. Both were blind, and they are talking to each other. In this story, the narrator is traveling by train through India. He observes a young man about to get on the train. The couple who brings her, probably her parents, give her lots of instructions about what to do and how to behave on the train. So this is quite natural that the parents who accompanies with any traveler gives suggestions, advice that not to talk to anyone once you get on the train. Once you get on the train, not to talk to the strangers. Behave well, do this, do that. So much of do's and don'ts we understand from our parents. The narrator says that he was totally blind at the time, only able to see light and dark. So he could not tell what the girl looked like, but he very much liked her voice. Here, the narrator liked the sweet voice of the girl, although he is not able to view or distinguish between the light and dark, but still he can sense the light and dark. His voice startles her after she sits down, and he attributes this to her good eyesight, suggesting that sight people miss lots of things because there is so much for them to see. Only later is the irony of this statement made conspicuous. The narrator decides to see if he can keep her from realizing that he is blind. They talk about where each of them is going, and he tries to get her to describe the scenery outside, though she likely assumes he is asking about what it is like to be blind. She is pleased when he tells her that she has an interesting face because she says she is tired of listening to the same words again and again for many times, and she has a pretty face. When the train starts, he knows she will forget their encounter, but he feels he will remember it forever. This is also very important to know that the narrator thinks that he will remember her forever. He will keep the experience that he had will be preserved forever by him. But he does not assure that she may remember or remind him later. He smells her perfume just as she is getting up to leave, and he hears some confusion in the doorway. This is caused by her inability to see the young man waiting to enter the compartment. It is only when this young man tells the narrator that the young woman was blind. So the young woman was also blind, the narrator was also the blind. The narrator understands the irony of the situation. So here the author talks about the irony of the situation, where the narrator seems to be on the horns of dilemma to understand, to view the world. In Ruskin Ponds, the eyes are not here. The narrator is sitting alone in a train compartment en route to Rohana, where a girl boards the train assisted by a couple who the narrator assumes is her parents. The narrator is blind, able to see only light and darkness, so he cannot make out the girl's appearance. Only that he likes the sound of her voice and the sound of her slippery. He asks her if she is traveling to Dehra. She responds that she is headed to meet her aunt in Saharanpur. So here the girl is traveling to Dehra. Here the narrator asks her if she is traveling to Dehra. She responds that she is going to meet her aunt in Saharanpur. They conserve a bit more about their destinations, and the narrator wonders if she has taken notice of his blindness. So here still there is the narrator seems to be in a fix to know that the girl may have known something about his blindness. He moves to sit across from her and tells her that she has an interesting face, which she is amused by because she claims to be tired of being told her face is pretty. The girl prepares to depart at her station when the narrator wonders about her hairstyle and wishes for more time with her. After she leaves, another man boards the train and comments on the girl's beautiful but useless eyes. Her eyes were beautiful but useless because the girl whom the narrator is talking was blind. She was too blind. It is essential to note that the eyes are not here is also known by two other titles. There are two different titles for the same story. That is the girl on the train and the eyes have it. In brief, it is about two blind people meeting on a train. So at the beginning of the story, a man is alone in a train compartment, simply waiting for the journey to begin. The man is blind. I repeat all these things, I sum up. The man is blind and can only differentiate between light and darkness. He's joined by a young girl who is originally accompanied by her parents. They seem extra anxious about her well being, in that they tell her exactly where to put her luggage, not to lean out of window, not to speak with the strangers, all these common instructions that are given by parents to the girl. In the course of time, the girl's parents left, and the man and the girl are alone in the train compartment as the journey resumes. Most of the story involves the conversation between the two characters, that is, the man and the girl. When the man asks the girl if her destination is the same as his own, he is startled but is ecstatic to strike up, strike up a conversation. The girl says that she will be met by her aunt in Saharanpur in order to be taken home. When the girl learns the man is headed to Missouri, the hill country, she looks at him in envy. The hills are beautiful at this time of year. The girl exits her stop at her stop. The man tells her that she has an interesting face, which the girl likes, because she is told that she has a pretty one. The girl leaves and another man enters through the comments from this new passenger. The man learns that the girl whom he is talking to was also a blind. Really, it's an interesting story. Please find some time, get the story written by Ruskin and read it at leisure, the original text. So this is the summary, or this is the gist or the overall impression that the readers received from received while reading the text. So I stop here. Please read this story at home. Okay, all the best. Have a nice day.